Second traffic, so that's cool. I live 100 from the lakefront, which is amazing. And I think one thing that's really cool is just like
welcome everyone.
So,
Doing a quick sound check. Can folks hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, great. Welcome everyone. You are on River Sprinter. This is one of our 38 passenger or 38 vessels that we have as part of the NYC ferry system. All of our ferry names were given to us by second graders. We did a contest. We did multiple contests actually with the Department of Education, and we engaged second graders because in second grade that's when you learn about maritime history in New York. So I encourage you, the next time you are out on the waterfront and you see an NYC ferry vessel passing by, check out the name. Our most famous name is probably Lunchbox. That was given to us by a class who said that a lunchbox, which has many different types of foods, represents New York and NYC Ferry because you've got a bunch of different people and a bunch of different commuters. And so we really love the names and we welcome you on board. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you've had a really great conference so far. So we are headed right now to the East Midtown Greenway. We're going to be on board for about 45 minutes to an hour, and we're going to be looking at things from the water side, so we'll try to go slow. If everyone has, in general, the way that this is set up here, we are not really able to do immediate Q&A, so if you've got a burning question, please write it down. Just a quick question. Can you all hear the sort of feedback that is presented? No? Okay, perfect. Okay, so I am Ferry Santana. I'm the NYC Ferry Deputy Director. I work in the Corporation. We are kind of an interesting organization. If you don't know us, we are officially the city's nonprofit organization, so we're not technically government. We sort of refer to ourselves as quasi-agency sometimes, which means that we get to do a lot of really fun things, and we can often do them really quickly and in close collaboration with others. So one of the things, this is not my project, but I am prepared to speak about it a little bit. But one of the cool things about EDC is we often work on projects on behalf of the city. So the East Midtown Greenway is a great example of that. That was a collaboration between EDC, DOT, which is the Department of Transportation, and New York City Parks. So DOT, Parks, and EDC work together very closely on greenways, and we each contribute different strengths and expertise to the planning and building and expansions to the network. The East Midtown Greenway segment is no exception, as this was a team effort, and I will get into what the East Midtown Greenway is when we get a little bit closer to it, but first I'm going to talk about the different roles that each agency played here. So DOT, the Department of Transportation, is responsible for the city's street network. They plan and implement the on-street bike network both through short-term street improvement projects and through capital projects in conjunction with our partners at the Department of Design and Construction. As DOT plans and expands this bike network, the forefront of their minds are safety, transportation, and they are also the agency responsible for developing and promoting the mission of New York City bike lane. They have built over 220 protected bike lanes, including a brand new one in front of my house on Bedford Avenue in Brooklyn, which I'm very excited about. And many of these protected bike lanes are parts of greenways. NYC Parks is responsible for the city's extensive system of parks, sports facilities, and natural areas. They are particularly focused on greenways as a method to expand access to open space and the recreational value that greenways provide New Yorkers. NYC Parks plans and designs many in-park greenway segments through their typical park building process, but they also partner with other agencies like the Department of Environmental Protection to add greenway segments to other infrastructure projects in the city. New York City Economic Development Corporation, or EDC, where I work, as I said, is a nonprofit quasi-agency that works on behalf of the city and collaborates closely with City Hall, Parks, DOT, and other agencies. So our Greenway work focuses on how greenways intersect with economic development and the public realm. We also bring our agency's planning, design, and construction expertise to the city's greenway. On behalf of the city, we do a lot of management of the city's owned waterfront spaces. We have the Brooklyn and Manhattan cruise terminals. We've obviously got the NYC Ferry network. EDC recently launched a Blue Highways initiative, which is really aimed at reducing trucks from roads and instead moving cargo by barge, by ship, in other creative ways around the city to improve air quality, reduce congestion, and really just make things faster and easier. So here, on your left here, we're approaching the newest segment of this whole network, which this is the East Midtown Greenway. So it's a segment of this overall Greenway project, which aims to have a pedestrian and bike pathway around the entire circumference of Manhattan. There are still a few gaps in where this doesn't connect, like right here where we're driving next to. This is a gap, but this one was just opened about a year ago, and we're probably going to see a lot of people on it. So the East Midtown Greenway is a linear park on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. It spans 1,980 linear feet, which is a little less than half a mile. It opened about a year ago, as I said, and it's one of the last remaining segments to complete the 32-mile greenway that loops the entire island of Manhattan, which has been a goal of every New York City mayor in the last, since the 90s, really. And so this is an ambitious project, and I know everyone at EDC was really excited to be a part of it. This is one of the last sections to be completed because of the complexity of how the FDR Drive butts up right against the East River. So as you can see, right behind us, if you look behind us, there's cars and traffic. That's FDR Drive. That's it's our East Side Highway. And so there was literally no land left to build this greenway. So this is constructed, as you can see, in the East River. So prior to this project actually really becoming what it is, the Department of Environmental Conservation approved this 40-foot wide structure. So we then established that 20 feet wide would be bikeway and 20 feet wide would be pedestrian, which is consisted of a walking and planting trail. So in general, we separate the bikeway and the walkway through the use of plantings as well as elevation. For the most part, bikeway sits higher than the walkway, except for a few key moments where we wanted to create connections. There's a really wonderful woman at EDC who this was her, it was a huge collaborative effort. She was one of the leads, and she was the one who I prepped with to be able to talk about this. This is not my project, but it's a really fantastic thing. But she was telling me that they were planning for this segment and this project. They did a lot of community visioning sessions, and one of the things that came up from the community was that folks really liked to go out and see. There were these rock kind of cropping areas. I think it might be sort of on the inside of this area that we're getting to now. And so there's an area where in low tide, because sometimes the tide comes up close to the greenway itself, there is a walkable, pedestrian kind of crosswalk that you can get to from the pedestrian side to the bike side, so that you can see these rock formations. So that was one of the very particular design choices that came out of conversations with community, and it was one of those intentional times when they wanted to merge the two sections. So, and you know, on that note, you'll see as you're looking at it that there are obviously different users that are using this space. There's people who are sitting and enjoying the view, there's people walking, there's running, there's runners, there's cyclists. And so that design was really thoughtful. Like, for example, there are occasional areas on the bike side that are built so cyclists can pull off to the side and enjoy the view, you know, while people can continue on past there. So we're really excited that this segment completion brings us one step closer to achieving that goal of having 32, you know, complete consecutive miles all the way around Manhattan, and we look forward to being a part of the completion of the next segment. So I will stop here and look out and see if anyone, you know, has questions. I don't know that I'm going to be able to answer them since this isn't my project, but if you've got a question, I will try my best. Okay, if someone could pass me a question, that would be amazing.
Converse about Highland Burial.
Sorry, I'm trying to take you out.
Oh yeah, it's good weather today.
Great question from the person in orange over there. The question was essentially, you know, we see on the Brooklyn and Queens side, there's lots of residential buildings. Part of that may help fund some of these public spaces. We don't see that here. There's, you know, we're literally creating new land here to build this greenway. So there's this question about funding. This is something I am going to look up, but I believe that this particular segment of the greenway came from a commitment by this administration, and I think it was about $1 billion. Don't quote me on that. I'm going to look that up and get back to you later. But this was dedicated, you know, committed money that came from the city, I think, for the most part. So I'll look that up.
I wonder if they're even. It's only what is it? What if they said they want the loop? But where does the loop?
There's just those two access points when I bike it here and then at the end over there.
Yeah. It's impressive though that they did actually pour concrete.
Oh, I guess that.
That is exciting.
Like there's like no. I guess that's the just like.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Great. Thank you for the question, Jesse, I believe. Great cue for me to talk to you all. Well, first, I'm going to speak. My background is in architecture and urban design. And I can speak a little bit about private development projects on the waterfront. We were actually supposed to take a look at has Mall Drive Park, which is a new park right in the south of